Oh, it usually says this meeting is now being recorded. Whatever. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Contested NBA podcast. If you're listening to this, it's probably Wednesday, September 30th, or anytime after that. I'm Max Tepper.
I'm Ethan Cope.
Alex Toma.
What's up? And here's just to let you guys in on a little secret. We kind of messed up really badly because we actually recorded this podcast last night, but the files weren't downloading properly. And so all of you future podcasters out there, I seriously recommend do not use Zoom on a PC. Use it on a Mac. Anyways, let's get into it. So Today we are covering the end of the conference finals. We're just going to recap the series and kind of break down some of the things we took away from them. So I guess, Ethan, we'll start with you since your team, the Celtics, lost in 6 to the Miami Heat.
Yeah. Unfortunate series of events. But I'm not completely disappointed. I do think the Celtics definitely could have played better. I think everyone knows that, especially after blowing a 14-point lead in Game 1 and a 17-point lead in Game 2. That's pretty unacceptable in the playoffs. But
very much so.
I don't think we got enough production from Gordon Hayward.
You're talking to the Clipper fan. You're talking to the Clipper fan about blowing leads.
I agreed with him. I just said very much so.
I'm just wrong. You guys both
unacceptable.
You guys both can relate on that one.
Tough. But anyways, I do think we didn't really get enough production, or I guess as much production as I hoped, out of Gordon Hayward and Kemba Walker that series. And I think really their biggest problem was just the Heat. I feel like just put in more effort and played with more like heart and passion, I guess. Not to sound like corny, but it's true. And they just put in more effort towards the end of the game. It kind of seemed like the Celtics would like give up at points and get like tired, especially towards the end of those games. But I'm not completely disappointed. The fact of the matter is the Celtics, I think, definitely overachieved this season. I don't think anyone even had them making it this far in the playoffs, let alone a bunch of people thinking they would have a down year. And I like how Tatum played these playoffs. I think he was very solid in that series against Miami, even though I would have liked to see him perform better down the stretch and towards the end of games. But, I think Jaylen Brown could have definitely played better. I think he was lackluster on defense. And one of the biggest problems this series for the Celtics was allowing open shots. So what I mean by that is, like, you can't allow people like Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson to just go off, especially when they already had done a good job at somewhat containing Jimmy Butler in a sense, to a point where he wasn't like completely taking over games. You couldn't always like feel like his presence in a sense.
You definitely felt Tyler Hero's presence more, I felt like.
Yeah.
Like series.
In it
definitely with Bam, Hero.
You can't let a bench player go off for 37. That's just not acceptable. And a lot of them is like closing out on open 3-pointers, which I really think they had a problem with all like the whole playoffs. But it was definitely like prominent in the Heat series because, the Heat are just a great shooting, especially 3-point team. But I don't know. I think it just came down to lack of effort compared to the Heat's effort. And I mean, not to take away from anything like the Heat did, like obviously they won, but I really, after that series, I feel like it was pretty evenly matched outside of like trying to guard Bam because Daniel Theis just can't do that. And I don't really feel like the Heat are really necessarily like a better team. I think both teams were pretty evenly matched. The Celtics, on paper at least, definitely have more like star power. But I think the Heat just got more consistent production out of their role players than the Celtics did. And I think that definitely factored into it, especially with Kemba underperforming all playoffs really, because he only shot 30% from three when he was shooting like 38% in the regular season and
That
putting
hurts.
up 20 points per game at least. And I think he failed to do that during the Heat series. And there are also times where I feel like Marcus Smart got too like trigger happy, especially in Game 6. Like I don't think Marcus Smart should be taking more shots than Jaylen Brown ever. And that's just, I don't know. That's just my takeaways. I feel like the Celtics could have done a lot better. And I think when they attacked the rim and they applied pressure on defense, they really took like control of the games when they did that. But for some reason, they didn't consistently do that throughout each and every game. Or else I think they could have easily won in like 5 or 6. But
Could have gone either way for sure.
yeah, I do think like it was pretty noticeable when they applied the pressure offensively and defensively, it flustered the Heat and they really like took over in games. You could see it in the games that they won, games 3 and 5. And even in game 4, they ended up losing by 3, but you could see towards the end of the game, they started applying more pressure to the Heat and they were able to come back in that game. And they even did that in game 6 before the last like 5 minutes where they kind of just fell apart. But yeah, I mean, credit
So
to
yeah,
the Heat, I guess.
like I said last night, I mean, like we said everything that we were saying last night, but I just want to go back to one of the points that I made, and that is that the Celtics are a more talented team. Like their 7-man rotation is more talented than the Heat's. Just player by player is more talented than the Heat's. I think the Heat just played harder. That's the simplest way to put it. The Celtics' problems, I think, are fixable. Like they're all fixable problems. Closing out shooters. The only thing is you can't get guys to make shots, but you can put them in better positions, better positioning to get those shots off. And then obviously Kemba needs to be more consistent, but I think he should take on more of a facilitator role, even though he is a scoring point guard. I think it's time. This season has really showed that the future of this franchise is going to go to Jayson and Jaylen. And so you got to start giving them more shot opportunities, especially Kemba. If you're not making it, then you got to be able to, share the sugar, if you will.
Especially Jaylen. I mean, I feel like throughout like most of the playoffs, I feel like he didn't get as many shots off as I think he should be getting off, especially in that series against the Heat. Like I don't think it should come down to like Jayson Tatum obviously got his shots. Like everyone knows what he did. Yeah, he's the youngest player ever to average 25, 10, and 5 in the playoffs. So I don't have anything. I don't really think. I think Tatum's shooting could have been more consistent.
Wait, 25 and 10?
25, 10, and 5. He was the youngest player to ever average that.
He averaged a double-double?
Yeah.
What a dog, bro.
I didn't even know that.
No, he was really good. The only problem with his game, I think, was
couldn't get hot early.
We all mentioned, like towards the end, like he at times he just makes it like too difficult on himself, and we always go back to that. Sometimes he gets a little too jump shot friendly, and maybe he should take it in a bit more.
Yeah, if Tatum was more aggressive, I mean, obviously, when you score in the paint, your field goal percentage is usually higher, but
you would hope so.
If Tatum was more aggressive, I feel like his scoring, he really could have averaged like 30 if he was more aggressive. But, he's 22, so that'll come with time. And then I also think he'll develop like that local or that vocal like leadership role. But
you could only hope. But going forward, I really see, if it's not Marcus Smart doing it, which he has been, especially in the Toronto series, I see Jaylen more taking that vocal role.
I mean,
either
Jaylen
way, doesn't strike me as the dude that's vocal. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but
Jayson doesn't strike me as the dude that's vocal.
Jaylen is definitely one of the more like vocal guys on the Celtics, but
I think the Celtics just
Either
got
way.
exposed. They really. Well,
I don't know. I feel like expose is used for teams when they just get like fucking like cooked. Like this is.
I mean, exposed in a
It's just
in
the
a
fact
lighter sense.
when it
Like
comes
the
down
Heat
to the
were able to exploit some of the Celtics' weaknesses.
Yeah, the Heat
Not
up
expose, but
the
when
Heat
it
up
comes down to
the
it, the
day.
Celtics just need a big man. Like that really screwed them over that series.
Yeah, but I think they could have won a series with Tice. I think this series was.
Yeah.
I mean, it really just came down to, in my opinion, the Heat being like more experienced. In terms of like the top tier players, like obviously Hero and Robinson aren't super experienced, but the leaders of the team with Jimmy Butler, Iguodala, Crowder, Dragic, like those are all like seasoned vets.
Yeah.
So I don't think the Celtics are outmatched. We mentioned this yesterday that the talent was pretty even if you go like 7 deep, in my opinion. Like Dragic Kemba, like Dragic has been playing better than Kemba in the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think Hero and Jaylen Brown. Obviously, I think Jaylen Brown's better, but Hero played bigger in the series.
Yeah, I think Hero was as good as Jaylen these playoffs, honestly.
Yeah, and then Tatum,
especially
Butler.
in crunch time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think it just came down to the Heat just executing a little better at the end of games, and like just having guys that showed up. Like Iguodala's 4 threes were huge in Game 6. Like you don't expect that from him, but like all those threes were needed, especially in the game. It was like close, and then when Iggy started to hit those threes, the Heat started to kind of pull away a little bit. But this was a good series. Celtics are fine. They just need a little bit more experience, and as Tatum and Brown progress, they'll get to that point. I'm sure of it. The Celtics are going to be a problem in the East for a while.
Yeah, I agree. I really don't think there's much to it. It's just the fact that at the end of the day, they do need a big man to get defensive rebounds and protect the rim.
Yeah, and that's not like a major upgrade. You don't have to go out and trade for like some crazy ass name, you know.
Yeah, you don't need to go out and get like Rudy Gobert.
Yeah,
but the bright thing about the Celtics is that they do have trade assets. They have Gordon Hayward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only problem with Gordon Hayward is his contract.
Yeah, but you could use his that with a rebuilding team.
Yeah.
To attract a pretty good amount of assets. You can get one really good big man or a decent big man and another whatever you need.
Hayward's big salary is like that could be very helpful in trades to get like someone that is more known in the league and has a bigger contract. Like Gordon Hayward could be that filler just to make the contracts work, and then you have the other young assets to throw in along with picks if you need to. So
yeah, I agree. Fine. I do think yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say. The Celtics, I feel like we're just didn't put in as much effort that series, which is disappointing because you want to see like maximum effort at all times from your team. But the fact of the matter is it didn't happen, and the Heat just outplayed the Celtics that series.
Yeah, I think it's more outplayed than out-hustled for sure.
Yeah. I think the number one thing that you would come down on the Celtics for is their inability to figure out Miami's zone defense.
Yeah.
Because that really killed them. Because that zone defense really stops you from getting ball movement. And, you could see the effect it had on the Celtics. I mean, just game after game, Miami would start the zone and then Boston would shut down.
Yeah, and then on the other end, Miami was moving.
Yeah, that's why. But the thing is, when they attacked the rim on that 2-3 zone, they were doing well.
Yeah,
right.
But they just got away from that, which doesn't make sense to me at all. Like why?
And it doesn't make sense because Brad is such a good coach. I feel like he'd be able to figure something out.
I don't even know if that's on Brad or if that's just on like the Celtics like players. But like when they attacked the rim, they played extremely well, and they were scoring like nonstop. Like the Heat, no matter what defense that you put out there when they were attacking the rim, that they really couldn't do anything. But they got away from that so much during the series, especially towards the end of the games, like games 1 and 2.
Yeah, and that's why the
got
leads
back
kind
in
of.
it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what you attribute to blown leads to. Teams kind of
Yeah.
like taking their foot off the pedal a little bit. Maybe the Celtics, after a strong first half, they started settling for jumpers more than wanting to attack, and
Yeah.
that's how you get a team back in the game, when you start
just-
settling, and you just got to keep in attack mode the whole game.
Plus,
Yeah,
the Heat
don't.
get better the closer you get to the end of the game. That's just one of their bright spots.
Yeah.
Is they have big,
I think
they have big name, big shot
Yeah.
creators. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the
Jimmy.
stat is, but I think like the Heat are like one of the better or the best clutch team in the bubble in the playoffs so far.
Yeah, definitely
think I
one of the
They
best.
just have like a different gear towards the end of games that they switch.
Yeah.
So I mean, what you're
You
gonna
shouldn't
do?
be totally disappointed. You should be disappointed
not at
maybe
all.
in just like, oh, we didn't get as far, but at the end of the day, I mean, the future is looking bright for the Celtics.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I'd say the only thing you're
as the Laker
disappointed
fan.
about is you probably feel like you gave away a couple games in that series.
Yeah.
So
that's
maybe instead of the
mostly.
Heat winning in 6, if you keep those 2 leads, maybe the Celtics win in 6. Who knows?
But I really thought the Celtics had a chance to come back from 3-1 because they won Game 6. They were doing very well in
Yeah.
Game 7. It was just the end of Game 7 that they couldn't hold on.
Well, they won.
And
game
then that big
6.
man problem.
You mean
Game
6?
Sorry, Game 6.
Yeah.
And then it was just that big man problem because Bam just went off. So got to get that big man to close that gap.
Yeah.
And then so I wanted to address one thing. There's like a small minority of people on Twitter and Steve in our group chat who just say that the Celtics should blow it up. Celtics don't need to blow it up. They're fine. This happens.
They literally don't.
Teams.
They don't need to make any changes of size going out and getting a solid big man.
I've never heard a team blowing it up when your best player is 22 years old.
Yeah.
Well, what is there to blow up?
That is the worst. That is like worst case. If Danny Ainge for whatever reason blew up the Celtics this offseason, I would have no hope left.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but honestly, Danny Ainge is a pretty good GM, so he's not going to do that.
I'm sure he'll pick up a center and everything will be fine. They'll be competing in the East Finals again next year.
Danny Ainge is a great GM. He's proven that over. I mean, he turned Jason Terry, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett into Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So I mean, I'm all right. I'm honestly really not that disappointed. I'm disappointed about the series, but overall, based on how they performed this season, I'm not disappointed at all, and I'm excited for the future. Even with the Nets getting like a healthy Kyrie and KD back next year, I still think the Celtics can compete.
Especially with because last year you had Kyrie as the leader. This season you're starting to see it shift in different series, and then so the Celtics core, Jayson Tatum and Jaylen, they're really starting to find out that they need to be the leaders of the team. And this time next season, when they're in the playoffs, I think it's going to be even more their team.
Yeah.
So unless you guys have anything else to say, we'll move on to the Western Conference Finals.
No, I'm good.
I'm good to move on.
I'm satisfied with the Celtics season.
And I'm very satisfied with what happened in the Western Conference Finals. All right, whatever. So Game 1, very competitive. Game 2, between the Lakers and Nuggets, obviously it goes down to the last shot. AD hits the big 3. Game 3, the Nuggets win. Game 4, the Lakers win. They take that 3-1 lead. And that's where I start to get a little worried because, the Nuggets have a way with 3-1 leads. But then the Lakers closed it out. They were able to close it out, unlike
couldn't
the Clippers
do it. Third time's a charm for the Nuggets.
Yeah. Or, well, not a charm, but yeah.
I meant like.
I'll wait for Alex
to. I mean?
Hey, Alex. Looks like Jamal Murray's going to be packing his clothes, huh?
Finally. I mean, damn.
Because he was folding his clothes and he was like,
that's such bullshit. That didn't happen. Oh my god. This fool did not get a text from the team and was like, hey guys, you know what, we're not packing. Nah, I don't believe it.
I'm ready to go home yet.
Yeah, no.
That's a great commercial because of how like just corny it is. But anyways, so yeah, I mean the Lakers took care of business. It was definitely the most competitive series out of the Lakers playoffs so far. Yeah, exactly. The Nuggets are a good matchup. I think the Lakers have had a very fair like playoffs, like overall, like when you look at how talented each team is, Lakers had a very decent, like it was pretty average. Wasn't like weak or strong as some people might want to give too much credit for the Lakers for. A couple things I think are troubling with the Lakers is, one thing in particular, Kuzma, because Kuzma was doing very well defensively during the Portland series and the Rockets series. Yeah. And he's actually averaging double figures in his first playoffs, and Kuzma has not had a very good year. So that's promising to see. But this series, him and going up against Michael Porter Jr. just didn't work at all. I mean, Michael Porter Jr., I don't know if it's Kuzma's defense or Michael Porter Jr.'s offense.
The best
just
one
ridiculous.
was
Kuzma's also just a dumbass.
No, the best one was I don't know, maybe I don't know if you guys brought it up when I was like away, but when he fell for the pump fake like 2 times in a row, and it's
it's like, dude, like I even saw the pump fake, I was like, Kuzma, don't jump, and then he jumped. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. Kuzma's very interesting.
Kuzma's interesting.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Oh man,
but I mean, it was definitely a competitive series. I think a lot of the games. I mean, if AD didn't make that last shot, I mean, this might be a completely different series. Not saying the Nuggets would win, but we might see a Game 6, possibly a Game 7.
I think if AD doesn't hit that shot, we at least see a Game 7.
I think maybe I don't know. Game 6, yeah. I don't know. I guess my opinion on the Nuggets differ from most people. Like, I really don't think they were like a Western Conference Finals team. I think the Lakers winning in 5 was like the games were competitive for sure. Most of them. I think there might have been one blowout, which was Game 1.
Yeah,
I think. And even in Game 3, the Nuggets were up that game, but they almost blew it. Game 2, the Nuggets came back, but then AD hit a very timely 3-pointer. But like you said, Max, the Lakers just like took care of business in the series. Like they're the better team. They should have won in 5 as they did. They did the right things. They put Jokic in a lot of actions, a lot in the pick and roll, forcing him to foul because he's not a good defender. And then Caruso, Rondo, KCP, Danny Green, like they did more than fine on the perimeter on defense, I thought. Jamal Murray didn't really go off in this series as he did in a couple one. And even in the like Clippers series, like he was struggling most of the series, but then at that point in Game 7 where anything happens, like he scores 40. But the Lakers didn't allow it to get to to that point in the series, and they just took care of business as they should have. So
right, it was kind of like they put all like the experienced veterans on like, they put Dwight on Jokic, which worked out very well.
Yeah, starting
Rondo
Dwight
and Danny Green on Jamal Murray, and then they just kind of let Kuzma like take care of Michael Porter Jr. and like just have him go like duke it out somewhere else. And like I don't know, they were just kind of in their own world. Very strange.
Yeah,
they match up really well, but they're just weird.
I mean, I guess they match up well, but Porter was kind of like saucing him up, though. No.
Yeah. No, I mean, just like on paper, like you would think like they'd be an all right matchup for each other.
They're also just both poor on defense.
Yeah.
They're just so lackluster on defense.
Kuzma started to pick up the defense in the bubble, but I don't know. Something about guarding Porter Jr. like turned off Kuzma's defense. I don't know.
It was very strange.
Yeah.
He wanted to run away from Porter like Porter runs away from vaccines. So, yeah, but I think
Porter missing out on that White House visit.
I was to say the best video was like the Laker players attacking Porter Jr. viruses.
With the handshake. Yeah.
Oh,
what was I going to say? Oh, I said this last night. I'll bring it up again, though. Games 1 and 2, the Lakers won. Game 3, Lakers lost. Guess who trends on Twitter whenever the Lakers lose? Frank Vogel. Then and then he makes a very crucial adjustment, a very effective one. And the next 2 games, he doesn't trend on Twitter. it's just so Laker fans are so bipolar about.
That's how it is. That's how it is when it comes to sports. So when someone does well, they don't get the credit they deserve. But when someone's bad, everyone notices.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. If the Lakers lose game 1 today, like Twitter's gonna be in a shitstorm on Frankie V. Probably they'll come up with something.
It's really not. I really don't think it's like that deep on who to start versus the Heat, but
Yeah, but like you said, Matt, credit to Frank Vogel, and it wasn't just this series. Like he made the adjustments all playoffs that he needed to.
Yeah, and that's
maximize
the tricky
team,
thing.
So
about the Lakers is like this whole season, it's like who's the third option? Who's the, what's the pecking order after LeBron and AD? And
playoff Rondo.
I would say Rondo is our third best player.
Yeah,
definitely. Rondo
because he's made a lot of big plays down the stretch.
Yeah, I guess playoff Rondo is a real thing.
Yeah,
I didn't know playoff Rondo was a thing since he was with the Celtics.
Because he actually played decent in the regular season. Like this regular season, Rondo was awful.
Nah, but playoff Rondo in the Celtics was even better than regular season Rondo.
Yeah, but I didn't expect him to pick it up. Like I didn't expect him to be like god awful in the bubble, but I kind of expected the same production during the regular season. But
yeah, me too.
I just remember like dumb shots and turnovers at every possession.
Rondo has really. I think. Obviously the Lakers have LeBron and AD, but Rondo has really been like that X factor for the Lakers these playoffs.
For sure.
Oh yeah, he's made a lot of big plays, especially guarding the perimeter players.
He hasn't played all the playoffs, right?
No, he started in the second
first round. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. But ever since he's come in, this Lakers have really kind of, just taken over.
Another weird X factor is it seems like Keith makes every 3 he takes.
Really?
I don't know. Every time, I see Marquise take in the Rocket 3, series, he just drains it. Especially in the Rocket series, he was really effective
in the Rocket series, and credit to Frank Vogel for making him the center of that series. Yeah. Even when you're when you got a guy, I mean, even with Keith on the floor, AD wasn't playing the 5. It was really weird. But
I don't understand that shit, honestly.
I think it's about injuries, honestly.
How many All NBA teams is AD gonna make at center without playing center?
That's true.
12.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't not play center. He doesn't not play center. He just doesn't play it most of the game.
Yeah.
What was I saying though? Yeah. Oh, about lineups.
I mean, does it really even matter if today's NBA is positionless?
It's moving that direction. But there is still some.
I think in certain series, AD's better at the 5, and he's done it. Even in the Nuggets series when he was playing the 5, that was mostly when Jokic was on the floor.
Yeah.
Like in the minutes that Dwight wasn't in, it seemed like AD was at the 5 and handling Jokic pretty well. And AD being at the 5 forced Jokic to guard him. So,
that's true.
Yeah, and then plus Jokic really provided a mismatch for the Lakers to take over that game because Jokic, as seen these playoffs, is very lackluster on defense.
Yeah.
And credit to the Lakers. I mean, Jokic, there was a couple games during the series that he pretty much just disappeared. You didn't feel his presence at all. He had a couple buckets here and there, a couple good passes, but he didn't really impact the game.
Yeah, and a lot of that was because they got him in foul trouble too. So
which he does.
He does, and they took advantage of that, and that's why you kind of thought he was missing because dude was on the bench with 5 fouls in the third quarter.
Yeah.
So,
speaking of fouls, though, this series had an interesting thing about fouls where both teams reported that they weren't getting enough calls.
Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous.
It was just overall, though. I think in the entirety of the series, they shot close to the same amount of free throws.
Yeah.
I don't think it was rigged one way or another.
I don't think it was rigged, but I like tweeting shit or sending tweets to the group chat, and then everyone thinks I'm serious.
Yeah.
Not you guys, the Braun stands, but I'm like they rigged this shit for.
No, call them what they are, Braun sexuals.
Hey man, sure, call them that.
I mean, it's true, but
it's strange though. I mean, there's this that whole side of the NBA community is LeBron doesn't get nearly enough calls, and he should be shooting twice as many free throws. It's I don't know. I don't know.
I feel LeBron is he's really good at the when he drives it in and he looks at the ref mad, and then the ref just blows the whistle. He's like, oh fuck.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't see what I'm watching these games objectively, and whenever they even make a bad call, like against the Nuggets, I'm like, all right, I hope the refs even it out so that way Nuggets Twitter doesn't go off or whatever.
I feel like it's bad that like us NBA fans were like, oh shit, Scott Foster and Tony Brothers are reffing today. Like it's not a good thing. Like we shouldn't be saying that. Like they gotta.
Yeah, we shouldn't know the names of refs.
Yeah,
unless it's
Joey Crawford.
Yeah.
Goat.
Yeah, but he retired a while ago.
Yeah.
So we pretty much just know Scott Foster now.
Yeah.
What was I saying before? I was saying about lineups. Oh, yeah. So the Lakers obviously didn't really have a proper third option. So Frankie V has to like constantly fix the lineups around. But he's doing a fine job. And I guess one of the last things I just want to say is like the Nuggets definitely had a very good run. I think obviously, like Alex said to us before the podcast, Jamal Murray's performance was definitely helped by the fact that he was in the bubble, which isn't an excuse or anything, but it's like a young player. It helps. It helps in a playoff situation.
Especially because like of what we've seen out of Jamal Murray in his career, like especially for getting a max contract like he did, he's definitely not performed up to that even at all. Like not even close.
I mean, it was a huge leap. I mean,
it was so random.
He went from like a
even
second tier shooting guard to like
even in
the all-time great shooting guard out of nowhere.
Yeah, even in like the seeding games, you didn't really see that out of Jamal Murray. But once the playoffs hit, it was just like he turned into fucking Michael Jordan.
Yeah, he averaged 18 points in the regular season. And he wasn't even like that great of a 3-point shooter too, I believe. I'm gonna check that right now just because I'm curious. And I hope
that the bubble didn't help out certain teams or certain players would be wrong because I think it definitely did. But the fact of the matter is, everyone was in the same situation. So I'm not going to take credit away.
But it's a different element for sure.
Yeah, it's like one big it's like a really professional AAU tournament.
Yeah, Murray shot 34% from 3 on the year, and then like on 18 points per game, and then in the bubble he jumps to 27 on like nearly 50% 3-point shooting.
Yeah, like that's
not normal.
That's not normal at all.
But I mean,
I don't think there's going to be a playoff Jamal next season.
No, there's not.
I would like to. He was very entertaining. I love seeing Jamal Murray these playoffs. I think it would be great for him to keep that up. But
I'm glad you enjoyed.
I think Alex would tend to differ about playoff Jamal.
But especially in that Jazz series, I mean, he had 2.
Well, that was fun to watch because no one played defense except Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, but either way, man.
I would say, if you're a Nuggets fan, like obviously you're feeling good after what you saw in the bubble, and you just hope deep down that wasn't a fluky performance by Jamal. But I think next season the Nuggets are looking at like a 4, 5, 6 seed with the Warriors coming back.
It's definitely going to be the 2 LA teams and then the Warriors.
The West is going to be, I feel like, a lot different next year, especially if you get like a healthy Blazers team the whole year, or like the Pelicans make a jump. Or I don't know, maybe the Suns make a jump for whatever reason, or the Timberwolves trade for Devin Booker.
T-Wolves are going to be.
I think the West is going to shake up a little bit past, both LA teams, which I'm assuming the rosters will probably look somewhat similar to this year.
Yeah, definitely. And then for the Nuggets, yeah, man, I mean, they had a good run. I think just looking forward, obviously, their seeding is going to slip a little bit. But, I mean, you got to be happy with what you've seen from your young talent. I mean, you guys see that these guys have been able to perform in big game situations. And then, Mike Malone is a really great coach. He's been able to maximize the potential of his players.
Yeah. I mean,
I like Mike Malone a lot. I like
Mike. I feel like great's probably like a bit much. I mean, the guy was down 3-1 like 3 times in the playoffs. So
I mean,
true. But then you also have to look at
the fact that he was able to come back from 3-1 twice.
So, yeah, it's a double-edged sword, definitely.
But
he saved his job for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like if he loses like Game 5 in the Jazz series, he's on the hot seat.
I think he's fired on the bus. As a
Probably.
3 seed, losing in 5, that would have been tough. But
Yeah.
they didn't. They didn't. So, yeah.
Looking forward to the Heat Lakers finals.
Yep.
Yeah. So you guys be sure to go check out the next episode where we break down some of the things to look out for in the final series. You guys have anything else to say? I feel like we've kind of said everything we needed to.
Yeah, I don't really have much else to say besides I don't really care who wins the finals.
I have a minor stake in the finals, just considering that I'm a Laker fan. So
yeah, I would say
I'm a little hoping that
I don't really care who wins either. It'd be nice to see Jimmy win, but hey, good luck on your AAU tournament tonight, Max.
Asterisk.
Thank you. No.
Yes. Yes.
I was actually there was some radio station that my dad was listening to, and they were just like, we want to wish a shout out to the Lakers or whatever. There might be an asterisk this season, but it's cool. And I was like, wait, what? No.
I don't think there will be an asterisk at the end of the season, but I think like when you sit down and have an objective convo, you have to bring up, hey, this playoffs was played in a bubble with no fans. But I don't think an asterisk in terms of this championship doesn't count.
Yeah.
So, but I think it'd be unfair not to mention the bubble. But hey.
No, I mean you have to mention like the conditions that they played in, but everybody
just like you
had
do
it
with
the
any
same.
era, like just what it is.
Yeah, it's just context. I mean, it shouldn't delegitimize a championship. I mean, we don't take away as much as people like to say they take away championships because of injuries. We don't do that. You know, Michael Jordan's first championship.
When you search up the 2015 NBA champions, it says like Golden State Warriors, not Golden State Warriors with a
because we have these stupid fans that want to give we have these stupid Laker fans in this group chat that want to give all the credit to LeBron and none of the credit to Kawhi, and I think one time they were like, there's an asterisk next to the 2019 finals, and I was like, dude, I just looked it up. There's no asterisk there. I mean, we shouldn't give Kawhi an asterisk.
Context matters, but not asterisks. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I mean they bested him. Michael Jordan's first championship. James Worthy and Byron Scott went down in Game 4. Bulls winning Game 5. We don't put an asterisk on that. 30 years later, we don't care no more. So it is what it is.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, they were still championship contending teams. So
show up to take care of your business. That's all it is.
Yeah. So anyways, we should be wrapping this up. So from the Contested NBA podcast, I'm Max Tepper.
I'm Ethan Cope.
I'm Alex Toma.
And if you guys heard anything you disagree with, go ahead and contest it. Like, share, subscribe. Do whatever you got to do to support. We will see you guys next time.
Later.
Peace.
Later.